Welcome to the Regina A. Quick Center for the Arts at St. Bonaventure University. For your safety and convenience, please note the exits located at either side of the stage, as well as the exits located behind you. In the event of an emergency, our audience services staff will assist you. At this time, we'd like to remind you that the taking of photographs and the use of recording devices is not permitted. Also, if you're carrying any cell phones or pagers, please turn them off now. We thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy the program.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a special welcome to all of our alumni here this weekend for a reunion. And a very special welcome to one of our most special alumnus, Jen Beretta, class of '87, same as Bob, and their daughter Julia, and all of our trustees who happen to be here today. Thank you for coming. I am Tom Missel, Chief Communications Officer at St. Bonaventure. A couple housekeeping things. First and foremost, this is a press conference, so the press that are here today, right after the formal presentations by the President and Bob, we'll take questions from the media. After that, we may open it up to questions from the audience if we have time, but that's the housekeeping details. Even though I'm not an alumnus of Bonaventure, though I desperately wanted to come here in 1979 when I was a senior in high school, I've been connected to this university for almost 40 years. I've covered the Bonnies basketball beat for the Times-Herald for 3 seasons in the late 1980s, before turning the beat over to some hack named Mike Vaccaro. I'm not sure what ever became of Mike. I thought he had some potential, so I hope he landed on his feet. I was here so long ago that I was the victim of the very first Woj bomb. That's the truth. When Woj and Mike Vaccaro, who were students at the time, alerted the TV station in Buffalo that Ron DeCarli had been let go as the Bonnies coach in 1989. I was the beat guy for the local paper. I watched in horror as that crawled across my ticker on my TV, fearing that Chuck Ward, our irascible but beloved managing editor, would have my butt the next day. Fortunately, I still had a job. I was actually here so long ago that Jim Engelhart had hair. Sorry, Jim. When I migrated to the OTH newsroom, I covered that awful period in Bonaventure history when the university was on the brink of bankruptcy in the early 90s. And then I came to Bonas, fortunately, very fortunately, in 2001 when I saw the newspaper industry beginning to flirt with extinction. So I've been around this place for a while. And in all that time, in 38 years, I have never encountered a Bonnie who is as universally respected as that man right there, Bob Beretta. I thought Jeff might be thought I was talking about him. You're number 2, boss. Yeah. The number of texts and emails I received applauding his hiring was remarkable. I'm sure it's the case with a lot of you. We dripped out several testimonials on social media from folks who had worked with Bob, and if we had the time, we could have easily found 500 more. The truth is, he was just as highly regarded 40 years ago when he was a student athlete. His coach, Jim Pransky, thought enough of him to let him take the mound in the Bonnies' first ever baseball game in the Atlantic 10. He was captain of the baseball team for the next 3 years and was a star in the sports information office, even serving as the intern covering his team, which allowed him to artificially inflate his strikeout totals and lower his ERA. That's not true. Is that true? And he graduated magna cum laude with a degree from the Jandoli School. I know for certain that he's thrilled to be back. When I spoke to him Monday to prepare the press release, I could tell he was choked up when I asked him what it was like to be coming home. To officially welcome Bob back to the Bonaventure family, it's my honor to introduce our 22nd president, Dr. Jeff Gingrich.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome, everyone. This has been a big 2 weeks for us since commencement. We had a wonderful commencement, a great day of celebration, and we moved into the summer with lots of energy. Before we get going, I want to start with a thank you, a big thank you. Like the NCAAs right now, there's been a lot of fast-paced transition in our athletic department over the last few months. And I do want to start by thanking a few people who led us through that transition and did it in an absolutely fantastic way. Ryan Klingon and Barb Cuesta both served as our interim co-athletic directors. Let's give them a round of applause. I know they're out there somewhere. I can't see them. Steve Mest stepped in to serve as our primary fundraiser for athletics and just did a fabulous job, as he always has done. And I think it's worth thanking, a deep, deep thank to really all of the athletic coaches, the staff. I think of folks like Seth Johnson, Steve Campbell, all the others who really led us through one of the smoothest transitions that I've ever had in an appointment. And that says a lot about the maturity of our staff, of our coaches, and of our student athletes. So please join me in thanking our entire athletic department. So as I said, it's been a fast-paced last couple of weeks, but Tuesday ended up being a very exciting day for us. Within 3 hours on Tuesday morning, we announced two things. One was the largest number of freshman confirmation for the upcoming fall in 35 years. We got a great class coming in. Incredibly excited about that. And the hiring of this guy, Bob Beretta, as our new Vice President, Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. That was one of the most exciting announcements I've ever been able to put out. I can't thank our search committee enough for their efforts. This was an all-star search committee this time, especially our co-chairs, Jerry Helper from the class of 1979 and one of our university trustees, and MJ Telford, our Hall of Fame former basketball coach from the class of 1975. One of our alums was particularly helpful in assisting us in the search, and that's Tom McElroy, who's in the front seats up here, who's incredibly helpful for us. And so let's give Tom a round of applause as well. And I'd ask all of the search committee to please rise, just so we can see who you are, and thank you all. This was a really great pool that we had, which is really the job of a search committee, is to pull together the best pool possible. The committee unearthed an impressive pool of candidates in our national search for a new AD. But Bob's resume was just impossible to ignore. Just look at his bio on the Lemoyne Athletics website or in our press announcement. It's all about accomplishments, about the countless initiatives he's developed during his distinguished 34-year career at Army and his brief but impactful stay at Lemoyne as he guided the Dolphins from Division II to Division I. Not many ADs can say that they moved an entire athletic department into Division I. The outpouring of support that we've seen from not only other athletic directors across the country, but from some of our most distinguished Jandoli School alums and other alums has been incredible since we announced Bob's hiring. To hear from some of our alums who know a few things about athletics, people of the stature of Mike Vaccaro, he did end up with a pretty good gig eventually, Chris LaPlaca, Woj, shouting Bob's praise from the rooftops upon hearing the news, it gave me a lot of comfort and gave a lot of us a lot of comfort, especially since I'm the one who ultimately made this hire, and to have so much affirmation just across the board. I was at the A10 Presidents and Athletic Directors meeting on Tuesday as this announcement was going up, and I had people coming in all over, presidents and athletic directors, saying, you got the right person there. He's your person. He's the right fit for St. Bonaventure. Aside from his remarkably accomplished resume, what impressed me most about Bob in speaking with him during the process was his genuine commitment to always putting the student athlete at the forefront of whatever the athletics department does. For all the challenges Division I schools like Bonaventure are facing in the ever-evolving landscape of college athletics, Bob just continued to stress over and over to me how important it is to never lose sight of what's best for the student athlete amidst all the pandemonium that's going on in college athletics. That was of comfort to me as well. As I said in Tuesday's press release, the fact that he's an alum is simply a bonus, a big bonus. But his deep appreciation of our mission and values is an asset that will prove invaluable. Welcome home, Bob. We couldn't be more excited to have you. Before I turn the mic over to Bob, we do have a gift for him, a little bit of a surprise gift. We've already started giving him lots of Brown stuff, and to Jen and Julie as well, but we got another gift for him. As Tom mentioned, Bob was captain of our baseball team, one of our All-Stars, and he was number 12. And so we're really glad to present him back his baseball jersey. This wasn't the original, but number 12 Beretta for baseball here. St. Bonaventure.
This has been humbling from the start, so bear with me. I'm an emotional person, and I might just get choked up once or twice during this speech today. Coach Schmidt, I know you're out there. You didn't tell me you had a game plan. Look at this crowd here today. It's amazing. Had no idea we had a game. President Gingrich, thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be with you here this afternoon to formally accept the position as the Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at St. Bonaventure University. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special day. I'm here along with my guests, Jen, my wife, and Julia, our daughter. I can't help but think of my father, Bob, on this very special day. My dad passed away in 1996, and I feel his presence here with us today. I also want to recognize my sister, Brenda, and my mother, Joanne, who couldn't join us but are watching on the live stream. I'd like to begin by thanking the search committee, and in particular, search committee co-chairs Jerry Helper and Coach M.J. Telford. This search was complex on many different fronts, and Jerry and Coach Telford could not have been more welcoming and gracious throughout. In fact, it was Jerry's encouraging words of his own career ambitions and Coach Telford's thoughtful top 10 list of why I should accept the offer to become the Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at St. Bonaventure that helped make Jen and I feel so incredibly welcome and wanted back on the campus of our alma mater. I also want to thank Tom McElroy, who was so crucial to this search process. Tom served as a valued friend, trusted advisor, confidant, and perhaps most importantly, a matchmaker. Tom recruited me, but he also provided the space and time necessary for proper discernment. It was evident from the start that Tom wanted only the best for St. Bonaventure, while delicately balancing a respect for Jen and I. And all of that speaks of the great love Tom harbors for this wonderful institution. So Tom, thank you very much. I also want to give thanks to the men and women who have helped me stand before you today. Too many men and women to count at West Point, Lemoyne, past and present, but I would like to salute the athletic directors I had the great fortune of serving under. Carl Ulrich, Al Vanderbush, Rick Greenspan, Kevin Anderson, Boo Corrigan, and Mike Buddy. Each of those amazing leaders have had a profound impact on my career. And I too would like to thank Barb Questa and Ryan Klingon for the job that they've done in the interim role. It's a thankless role. They've done it with dignity and class and really done a tremendous job. So I'd like to also recognize both of them. And Steve Mest, who is I've known for many, many years and continues to do wonderful things here on this campus. So Steve, also, I'd like to salute you as well. Thank you. Special thanks to President Linda Lemura and former board chairs Bob Raklitis and Pete DeLauro at Lemoyne. I could not have dreamed of better people to work with and for than President Lemura, Bob, and Pete. I am forever grateful for the opportunity they presented me to serve as the 4th Director of Intercollegiate Athletics on the Heights. I will always remain a Dolphin fan and enthusiastically cheer on the green and gold, except, of course, on November 16. November 16 is a day when the Dolphins will visit the Riley Center, so we'll be rooting for the Bonnies that day and really any other time that the Bonnies will play the Dolphins. But other than those games, fins up. President Mira, thanks so much, and go Dolphins. I'd also like to recognize the Franciscan men who have followed in the footsteps of St. Francis of Assisi. Men like Father Gerald McCaffrey, our former athletic department chaplain, Father Dan Riley, and our other Franciscan fathers. And most special thanks to President Jeff Gingrich, whose passion, spirit, and unyielding optimism inspired and guided me through this entire process. The opportunity to serve as a member of President Gingrich's senior leadership team at my alma mater is the stuff of which dreams are made. Thank you for your belief, trust, and support, President. I am honored to join your team, and I can't wait to get started. A little about me personally. I was brought in this world by Joanne and Robert Beretta. That's where my story began, in Newburgh, New York, 312 miles from the St. Bonaventure University campus. I was raised with traditional Christian values by my mother, who immigrated from Italy at the age of 19, and my father, who worked for the New York Telephone Company for 30 years. They taught my sister and I the meaning of faith, love, and hard work. It was a great upbringing. My father climbed telephone poles, and my mother scrubbed the floors of strangers. It always hits you when you don't think it, right? To provide me with the opportunity of a lifetime. To attend this remarkable institution at the foot of the Enchanted Mountains. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for sacrificing so much so that one day I could stand before a gathering like this and live out a dream. I'm a product of the student-athlete experience, but more importantly, I'm a product of the St. Bonaventure student-athlete experience. I was a 3-time team captain and a pitcher on the Bonaventure baseball team, as President Gingrich alluded to earlier. I'm so thankful for that jersey, by the way. That's fantastic. I earned a bachelor's degree in mass communications, and I thought I was going to be a sports writer. But the student-athlete experience, which transformed me in every way, academically, athletically, and socially, guided me to remain in college athletics. It was that experience and people like Dr. Russell Jandoli, Dr. Peter Beretta, and my very first mentor and boss, former Bonus Sports Information Director Jim Engelhardt, that helped blaze my path forward. Just a few weeks after graduating from Bonus, I began my professional career at the United States Military Academy at West Point, one of the top leadership institutions in the world. I began as an intern and departed a short 34 years later for the opportunity to lead the athletics program at Lemoyne College, where I've spent the past 3 years. And that brings me to today. Wow, it's so good to be home. There's just something special about this place at the foot of the Alleghenies, something magical and comforting all wrapped into one. What is it that makes St. Bonaventure University and its community so special? People have asked me that question for years. When our men's basketball team was making an historical postseason run a few years back, that very question became common in the national media. I remember hearing Coach Schmidt describe our brown and white community as a cult, a special place that just grabs you. And all of us blessed to embark upon the good journey know very well of what Coach speaks. This incredible pride and passion that we hold for our beloved alma mater. Let me tell you about pride and passion. It's as if there's a universal pride and unshakable passion held by this Bonaventure family. Its leaders, professors, its students, graduates, and all who wear the brown and white so proudly. The following quote from the commencement address of Joseph Yeagle, a member of St. Bonaventure's class of 2015, lends great perspective. Joseph wrote, "Bonus has a tendency to grab you by the arms and look at you in the eyes," Yeagle said. "And when it does, it strikes you in a way that a mere spot on the map, should not be able to. I know now more than ever that Bonaventure is more than just a spot on the map." That statement certainly rang true for the school's first graduating class in 1860. It rang true following the floods and fires that ravaged the school from the 1930s through the early 1970s. It rang true for this year's golden anniversary class of 1974. Give yourselves a round of applause, those that are here. And it rang true for Joseph Yeago's class of 2015, just as it rang true for St. Bonaventure's most recent graduating class, the indomitable class of 2024, and just as it will for all St. Bonaventure's graduating classes to follow. Leah Holtschmidt, St. Bonaventure class of 2000, once wrote, "It evokes a special feeling, this place we know as St. Bonaventure. Yes, the campus is serenely beautiful and the academics highly renowned, but even more important is the intangible sense of spirit that binds fellow Bonnies together. No matter how far they may be from campus, it's a community forged by a fascinating history of sacrifice and success. More than 150 years from the school's founding, it continues to be a good journey indeed." Sacrifice and success. I was fortunate to spend the past 37 years of my professional career at two other places that specialize in sacrifice and success: the United States Military Academy at West Point and Lemoyne College. And what makes West Point and Lemoyne so special are the same exact things that knit this Bonaventure community so tightly. It's the people. West Point has the long gray line. Lemoyne College has its Finn family, and St. Bonaventure University has Bona Nation. Once a Bonnie, always a Bonnie. And it's so good to be home. I've said this before, but during my time at West Point, I had the good fortune to interact with some famously successful individuals. Folks would ask me if I was ever intimidated speaking before members of Congress and three-star generals. My answer was no. I was not in the military, so no matter how bad of a misstep I took, they couldn't court-martial me. But what is absolutely intimidating is coming back home to your alma mater a couple of years ago to accept an award that has been previously presented to giants in the communications field. Titans like Dick Vitale, Chris LaPlaca, Mike Vaccaro, Adrian Wojnarowski, Van Miller, Paul McGuire, Jim Marchione, Donna DeToda, and Tom McElroy. I think you've heard a few of those names. Intimidating is receiving an award from a department whose distinguished graduates list reads like a who's who in our nation's history of communications experts. A master class that includes names like Janet Bodner, Dan Barry, Neil Cavuto, Lee Coppola, Mike Dodd, Victoria Cordieri, Jackie Trescott, Eric Fisher, Tim Bontemps, Brian Matthews, and of course, Vac and Woj. They'll never forgive me for just calling Vac Whack, but Vac and Woj. You think the transfer portal and the NIL are daunting? Those issues are a blip on the radar compared to trying to match up with the endless list of J-School immortals. Intimidating, you bet, but I'm so grateful to be a member of that fabulous cult. And by the way, congratulations to Chris, Jim and Eileen Buzzard, and Marianne Glennon on your selection as this year's St. Bonaventure Alumni of the Year. I look forward to celebrating that honor with you tomorrow night. You know, on one of the pages of the official St. Bonaventure University website, it states, St. Bonaventure embraces students, faculty, and staff of all faiths and cultures and strives to bring out the best in every individual through meaningful relationships. And isn't that what this life is all about? Meaningful relationships. So many impactful mentors, so many impeccable role models, and so many trusted advisors. I certainly experienced my share of those here along the Alleghenies. Mentors like Dr. George Evans, Dr. Peter Berecchia, and the incomparable Dr. Russell Jandoli. Role models like my two baseball head coaches, Jim Pransky and Larry Sudbrook. Advisors like Father Dan Riley, Father Gerald McCaffrey, and coaches Fred Handler, Leo Keenan, and MJ Telford. They were my baseball teammates, fellow members of the BV staff, my floor mates, my housemates, and of course, all of our favorite advisors, the bartenders down at the Skeller. Finally, there was one person responsible for my pursuit of a career in collegiate athletics, someone who taught so much to a bungling student assistant in his sports information office. The good Dr. E, longtime sports information director here at Bonus, Jim Engelhardt. I cannot thank Jim enough for his patience and guidance over the years, and he's the reason I'm in college athletics today. I'd like Jim to stand to be recognized, please. Most importantly, this sacred place, nestled in the heart of the Enchanted Mountains, introduced me to someone who would eventually join me on the good journey. We began dating on this campus and remained together almost 40 years later. My wife, Jennifer Johnson Beretta, also a member of St. Bonaventure's class of 1987. And that union produced the finest accomplishment of both of our lives, our daughter, Julia. Julia is a rising star in the college athletics industry, serving as an assistant in the athletic communications office at Penn State University, and someone of whom Jen and I are incredibly proud. I'd like both Jen and Julia to stand to be recognized. Jen and Julia, thanks for allowing me to pursue my professional ambitions and a lifetime of college athletics, first as a communications professional and now as a vice president and director of athletics, from West Point to Western New York. I know I don't say this nearly enough, but I love you both very much. Thanks for allowing me to chase my dreams from one end of this Empire State to the other. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank my parents again, Bob and Joanne Beretta, who worked so tirelessly to provide me with the gift of attending this jewel of an institution and presenting me with an opportunity of a lifetime. And a special shout out to my sister Brenda, who has always been available to lend her wisdom and support no matter the circumstance. While neither my parents nor my sister could join us this afternoon, I know they are here in spirit and so proud of this accomplishment. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for giving me a chance to learn and grow amongst the very best. Shifting gears, these past few years have been a fascinating time amidst all the disruption and chaos in the world of intercollegiate athletics. The transfer portal, NIL, legal allegations, actions, the House settlement, revenue sharing, and employee status. The list goes on and on. Any one of these issues could appear crippling, catastrophic to this intercollegiate athletics enterprise we love so dearly. But it is this very moment in time that demands patience, balance, and a more measured approach, a positive outlook, and most importantly, a steady, confident hand to navigate the turbulence. We must view these challenges as opportunities to chart a more stable and sustainable course for the future of intercollegiate athletics, opportunities to shape the next wave of industry leaders, and opportunities to serve our student athletes in a fair and just manner. We can never lose sight of our primary vision: to support the educational mission of the university and to serve our student athletes in a fair and just way. And here in the athletic department of St. Bonaventure University, we will always place the health, safety, and well-being of our student athletes at the forefront of our decision-making. We will never lose sight of our top priority, and we will do so in a manner so incredibly unique to athletics. I often say that while athletics should never rank as the most important element of any college or university, it certainly rates as the most visible. With great visibility comes great opportunity, and with great opportunity comes great responsibility. Our athletic staff will never take that responsibility lightly, as we relentlessly strive to leverage our program in a way that lifts the entire Bonas community, makes Bona Nation burn with passion and burst with pride. As it says on the university website, if you attend SBU, you'll also be a part of something bigger, a unique community whose core values of compassion, wisdom, and integrity matter now more than ever. For those of us so fortunate to set forth on the good journey, those guiding principles are part of the Bonaventure DNA from the time we first stepped foot on this glorious campus. And those same guiding principles have remained seared in our soul every step of the way: compassion, wisdom, and integrity. Yes, it's so good to be home. As I conclude, I'd like to borrow a phrase from my good friend Mike Vaccaro. Mike has been quoted as saying, "I can say this without qualification. I would never have gotten where I am if I hadn't gone to SBU." What makes this place so special? Yes, Joseph Yeagle, it's more than a spot on the map. What makes this place so special is people like all of you gathered here today. Once a body, always a body. I am incredibly humbled, tremendously honored to serve as your Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, but I'm even more humbled and more honored to be standing beside each of you on these hallowed grounds. It certainly has been a good journey, and yet it's only just begun. I cannot wait to start serving our incredible student athletes, our staff and faculty, and all of you as the Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at my alma mater, St. Bonaventure University. Thank you all very much. Special thanks, President Gingrich. I'm eternally grateful. May God bless the brown and white, and may God bless you all. Go Bonnies. Unfurl. Pax a bonum.
Thank you very much, Bob. At this time, we will open it up to questions from our media members. Raise your hand if you got one, and I will bring the microphone to you. Rachel.
Hi, Bob. Rachel Lindsay from the
Hi,
Buffalo
Rachel.
News.
Nice to see
Welcome
you.
back to the Southern Tier. You stated, the reason's obvious why you would return to St. Bonaventure with it being your alma mater, but coming in, what is your vision for St. Bonaventure's athletic department as you take over?
2 words, Rachel: comprehensive excellence. We want to be excellent in everything that we do, academically, athletically, and certainly in the community. That's something that we strive for every day at Lemoyne. It's something that we strive for every day at West Point, and it's something that I know that the folks here are working very hard towards. But I'm a big believer in you need to be excellent in everything that you do. You can't be mediocre in some areas and excellent in others. So for us, we're going to try to excel in every element, in every area of our student-athletes' lives, and that's academically, athletically, and socially.
And a follow-up to that as well, you bring a lot of experience to St. Bonaventure at the national, at the FBS level, at Army, overseeing transition from Division II to Division I at Lemoyne. All that experience, 3.5, 4 decades, how do you apply all of that to what you want to craft at Bonaventure?
2 things, Rachel. It tells me that I'm really old, and the second, that I've been blessed with many opportunities. I think that I have been blessed. I've been blessed with tremendous opportunity at West Point for 34 years. I was exposed to some of the world's greatest leaders, some of the best and brightest in our nation, and some really high-level decision-making that took place there. And while football is a huge deal at Army, we don't have football here yet, President, right? That's not on the docket yet, okay. And we were talking about it when I was attending St. Bonaventure. Rachel, I think a lot of the things it's the components that are instilled in you that you believe in. It's that decision-making process. It's the structure. It's being able to look out on the horizon. It's being able to think strategically and tactically at the same time, and to just try to be ahead of what might be coming down the road. Now, that's very difficult in this day and age right now, and it's so much turmoil, and the landscape changes every day, every minute of every day. But for us, we need to be able to at least forecast a little bit where the puck is going to be. I know Jerry's out there and a big hockey guy. We want to try to skate to where the puck is going to be. That's what Dr. Lemura does so well at Lemoyne. We always try to skate, and this is one of her phrases, we skate to where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is now. And we need to look out on the horizon and think strategically and have plan A, plan B, plan C, and sometimes all the way down to plan Z, so that when an opportunity arises, you're in position to take advantage of that. And that's really the formula we used in the transition at Lemoyne when Texas and Oklahoma announced that they were going to shift to the SEC. That was well before our transition process, but that night, I knew that we needed to be in place, and we called together a leadership advisory group where I could then be able to update our top leaders on the national landscape, because our mantra was we needed to be prepared if an opportunity came. If we were not prepared, the opportunity would have been fleeting and we might have missed out on it. So we wanted to be the jet on the tarmac ready for air traffic control to say take off. We didn't want to be the jet at the hangar saying, hey, we got to board the plane. So I think it's about thinking strategically, thinking tactically, and really looking out on the horizon and trying to be prepared for those curveballs that are eventually going to come our way.
Hi, Bob. Sam Wilson, Olean Times-Herald.
Hi, Sam. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. You're welcome. Obviously, you can see it on your face that this day means a lot to you to be back here. I'm curious, over the course of your career, how often did the idea even come up, the thought did the call of coming back to St. Bonaventure in your mind?
Thank you for that question. When you spend 34 years in one place, you think that is going to be your home forever. And I'd be lying if I didn't think that I was going to spend my entire career at West Point once I had gotten past a certain point. But I was involved once before in an athletic director search here, and unfortunately we had to withdraw during that process to some personal reasons. So I thought about it then. But then I probably didn't give it much thought, and I'll be full transparency. I came to my 5-year reunion in 1992, and I didn't step foot on this campus again until 2 years ago. And simply, I was really, my head was down working really hard at Army, and we had baseball reunions and things like that back here, and I just couldn't get away. They were always during the fall, during football games. But when I came back 2 years ago, I was moved viscerally, and my daughter will certainly agree with this, because she asked me kind of what's going on, and it just moved me to come back on this campus. I loved my time here. My 4 years here were the best 4 years of my life, and met my future wife, and I know Jen had an outstanding experience. We loved our Bona experience. But I had moved on, and I was at West Point, and that was my kind of home. So when I came back on this campus 2 years ago, it shook me. It shook me to the core. And I kept talking about it when I was going back to work. And I have other folks in the industry I was talking to, and they're like, that had some impact on you going back. I'm like, yeah, it was like I never left. Fast forward a year, I came back last year for my mentor's award presentation. Jim Mengelhart was presented with the Domino Award, and I came back again and had the same feeling. The only difference was I pulled a hamstring, I think, running around campus that time, so a little different feeling. But I went out and ran just because I wanted to run around campus and soak up the ambiance of being back here. It's kind of what I said in the speech. It's just something about this place. It gets in your blood, and I thought maybe it had left my blood until I stepped foot back 30 years later, and I knew that it was something that I wasn't going to shake. And when this opportunity presented itself this time, I knew I would regret it if I didn't consider pursuing it.
Hey, Bob. Chuck Pollock from the
Hey, Chuck.
Olean Sun
Good to see you.
and the Olean Star and the Wellsville Sun.
Yes, sir.
Two-part questions. One, did you apply for the job the last time it was open, or were you too involved at Lemoyne with that? And secondly, when you saw it was filled, did you think, oh, there goes my chance to be AD at my alma mater?
Thanks for being here, Chuck, by the way. Good seeing you. I had just started at Lemoyne at that time. I think when the last transition occurred was at the end of May of 2021, I believe. And I believe I had just started on the ground at Lemoyne, and I had some friends contacted me to see if I might be interested, but no, I did not apply. I did not pursue it. I did not give it a second thought. As much as the poll was maybe still there, I had just started at Lemoyne, and I would never have considered leaving Lemoyne under those circumstances so short into my tenure there. I did, Chuck, I did. I felt like, in life, you don't always get a second bite at the apple. And I was involved in 2015. And then when this opportunity arose and it wasn't feasible for me, I felt like, okay, well, it's probably not meant to be. And I'm going to focus on on doing a great job here at Lemoyne for the student athletes and serving our community the best that I can. And I really didn't give it a second thought. It was an easy decision because I was so ingrained in what I was doing at Lemoyne at the time. But in a private moment, I thought that, well, I'll probably never have that opportunity again, but that's okay. I'm in a great place with great people. Hopefully we can make a difference here. But sometimes life has strange ways of bringing you back to center, and this certainly happened in my case.
Bob, I'm curious about your background in baseball, and how can, obviously baseball, it's a popular sport at Bonaventure, but it's not considered nationally as one of the big revenue sports. Your background from that sport, how will that help you in the current landscape at this university?
Well, first of all, I told the president this before, that I'm so committed to the student athlete, and at Army it was, you wake up every morning and you're dedicated to get in and do a great job for those young men and women that could be putting their lives on the line and sacrificing so much for your freedom. So that motivates you every day. If not, you don't belong there. At Lemoyne, I just felt like I could make that experience better for them, because so many of them didn't think they were capable of playing at the Division I level, and I was here to tell them that they could, and the world is completely different. And here at Bonaventure, I'm so motivated to make the student-athlete experience, enhance the student-athlete experience, whether I was here or not. But coming back here, I relate so much to the baseball players, to the student-athletes, because I was one of them. I was in their cleats walking to practice every day, getting up at 6 a.m., walking from Shea over to the RC, because it was the only time we could get in the weight room to work out. So I think I was able to work at really high levels at the FBS level with Army football and some really special endeavors. All of it, though, it comes down to relationships, so much of it. And I think probably why so many people may have contacted the president is just that I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people along the way in a lot of different places, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, all those kinds of things. So I've had this breadth of experience, and I'm so thankful and blessed for it. And I think it gives me the opportunity to look at things from many different perspectives. I was a student athlete. I was a longtime administrator. I was the head coach of the Army softball team for a year. I was the parent of a Division I student athlete. So I come with many different perspectives, and I try to see all. Anytime we have a decision to make, the consistent piece being the student athlete welfare is always at the forefront of our decisions. And I think me being a former student athlete helps me to zone back into that perspective and know, is that how I would want to be treated when I was a student athlete? Or my daughter, would I want my daughter treated like that as a student athlete? And I know what her experience was. She was a student athlete at Sacred Heart University, and I had the blessing of coaching her on the travel side for many years, and always just wanted to learn more and come from many different angles. So I hope I answered your question. I know I was kind of rambling there, but a lot of different perspectives.
And I'm curious about another perspective, just with your background in the communications school. How critical is communications to your vision for this program?
Well, I think intercollegiate athletics is a relationship industry. It's a communications industry. I know the president, he and I will have a strong relationship. I'm sure that he will be blocking my number because I will be texting him so often to keep him updated on things. It's so important that we are able to communicate freely, openly, and bad news doesn't get better with age, so we need to share that, just like we need to celebrate the good news. But I think you're seeing more and more sports information directors become high-level athletic administrators, and I think that's a skill set that's highly valued, not just the writing, but the communication piece and thinking strategically. The J School inculcated such a broad skill set in my toolkit, so when I was able to leave, I felt really prepared for that next step. And working for Dr. E just provided you all those experiences. I think the communications aspect is really important because it's a relationship industry, and how do you build relationships? Through communications.
Hey, Bob, Ryan O'Halloran with the Buffalo News.
Sir, thanks for being here.
Sure thing. When you got the call with the job offer this week, was it excitement, relief, somewhere in between?
Surreal. It was surreal. It was nothing in between. It was joy. It was highlight of my professional career, without question. To have the opportunity to come back here and serve my alma mater, a place that I hold with highest esteem, to work for President Gingrich, whose reputation in this industry is amazing. But the fact that everyone tells you that he's a better person than he even is a president, and that's saying an awful lot when you see the work that he's already accomplished here at St. Bonaventure. We had common friends when he was at Scranton. Matter of fact, just last week we hired a women's basketball coach who had been at Scranton and overlapped with President Gingrich's time there, and I will tell you that the president's recommendation certainly carried some weight in that hiring. So, sheer joy, really. Somebody asked me this week if it had set in yet, and I didn't want to let it set in. I went down to Northeast Conference AD meetings this week and was really busy and tried to reach out to so many people, and thankful for so many people that reached out. It's been just amazing, incredible, humbling, but it's starting to set in now, and it's a really good feeling.
As you step into this job, what are some of your goals for the first 30 days or even 60 days?
Yeah, thanks very much. So I'm going to go on a listening, let me backtrack. I'm going to follow a very similar formula that we utilized at Lemoyne when I went there. And for the next 60 days, when I start officially, I'll go on a look, listening, and learning tour. And I'm going to try to meet with every member of our department. I will try to reach across campus and meet with deans, faculty members, the provost, as many people in leadership positions as I can. And my entire staff, we met already today. First order of business, I spent a half hour and I got to introduce myself to the athletic staff, which was fantastic. And just an opportunity to introduce myself, talk about some top level beliefs. And that was really important to me to be able to do that today and shake a lot of hands and try to put faces to names. But those first 60 days, I will try to gather as much data and information as possible. I'll create little mini action plans for each person that I speak to. I want to get to know them, what's important to them, try to get to know a little bit about their family. And then we're going to pick their brain for information, because I'm the newcomer on this campus. For the second time in 4 years, I'm the new guy after spending 34 years being the guy that everyone thought had the institutional knowledge. I don't have any now. So I'm going to utilize our staff and leverage them the best that we can, rely on them to provide the information, and then about 100 days in, I'll provide President Gingrich with a 100-day report that'll be pretty thorough. I shared with him the report that I presented to President Lemura at Lemoyne, and that'll provide some preliminary thoughts and ideas and perspectives and directions that we should head. But I think for me, it's really important to sit back and listen as much as possible and learn, because I don't have the answers for St. Bonaventure. I don't have them for Lemoyne either, for that matter, but we'll get them together. And the only way that I can gain the perspective of others is to listen intently here for the next 60 days and try to learn as much as I can about this dynamic and about this campus as I possibly can, because I haven't been here since 1987. I know that a lot hasn't changed, and that's the culture and the values of this place, and that's the most important thing. Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Just a couple things before we break up here. I want to clarify one thing. Chuck Pollock said he was Olean Star, Wellsville son, Wellsville Star, Olean son. Chuck is and will always be the Times Herald. He was there for 50 years. He gave me my first job. He gave Vac his first job. He gave Woj an internship. He gave women like Amy Moritz and Jenny Fry, who was a star at the Washington Post, their first opportunities when they weren't available for women. So I just want to make that clear to people. The only reason he's there is because that's what happened to the industry. Two pieces of breaking news when I was sitting backstage watering the flowers. People on the stream were so impressed with Bob's speech that we have just been admitted to the Big Ten. and we've added football. So which will make a lot of people on the bandwagon. $5 says this is on the bandwagon in about 20 minutes. And it will be one of you, probably. And the last piece of good news, before we break up, I found out backstage that I'm going to be a grandfather in about 3 hours. So. For a young woman who never thought she'd be able to have a kid. So, sorry, Bob, you're not the only one that's cried today. With that, thank you, everyone. Everybody that's here for reunion, have a great reunion. Bob, thank you so much. Welcome back.